Hello, welcome back. Last time I spent an hour convincing a snake to balance itself on my head. So now that I've done that, that actually gave me another idea. So this looked like... oh boy, let's just skip to the end, which takes a brief little moment. So I had... right, I just put a hat on my head. There wasn't even a snake on it, actually. But I got an idea from this ridiculous mess of a layout. A couple of them, actually. So there's this structure right here, which I think I can recreate in a different spot. So the idea that occurred to me after I did all that work was, maybe that work was for nothing and there's just simply a better way to do what I'm doing. Which is to say that I think I could never have to put a snake on my head if instead I just have a better way to move them around. So let's make a stack of 2 here. Let's make a stack of 3 right next to that. And then a non-stack of 1 nearby. I don't know if this is how I'm ultimately going to use that set of switches, and yeah, I have committed to something now by putting this here like this. There's a thing I can do. So let's pull out a snake and position it in a particular spot. It goes right here. I can send you up a stairway. So that's a real quick and easy way to elevate a flying snake to level 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're at elevation 4. And if I just built some sort of flooring that would route you directly from where you're up high... well, first of all, if I had a hat on my head, I could easily get that snake onto that hat after having set things up that way. Getting a hat on my head was very involved in the way I did it. I'm not sure yet if it's worth optimizing that approach down to using fewer resources and less space here to get something on my head, or if the thing on my head is just not even necessary. For today, I want to just not think with a hat. So hat off, see about doing this other ways. So if hat is off, then I want to bring a snake up high, and note this is horizontally in line with almost exactly where I want to be. Now, several other questions occur. My medium-term intermediate goal is to get a flying snake into this chamber. And I'm going to break that step. That's already a breakdown of the entire room's task, but I want to break that step down into further pieces if necessary. I did the hat piece last time, so I know how to staircase a snake now. Can I turn staircasing a snake into snake in here? What is between those two things? Second snake for one thing. Why second snake? Well, okay, so I could put one in snake jail. So the weird thing here is, like, how do you get from here to there in... oh, there are so many questions here. Okay, so the absolute minimum required for flying snake in here is flying snake on block here, and for that block to exist, block needs to be itself on a flying snake. So snake block snake at elevations 0, 1, and 2. Snake block snake, snake bomb bug. Now, since I can't have a bomb bug directly on a flying snake in this room, that means snake something block snake, which is going to have to be block. So snake block block snake. Snake block block snake. I need to do this in the editor. That's fine, I can do that. Alright, so here, this is, let's just lay down another room. Do I need another one? At this point, yeah, sure, I should, let's just sort of copy this template. And erase all the stacks. Oh, I can only erase one at a time. There's no click and drag. That's right. Pencil lets you click and drag if you want, though. Okay, so that is snake, block, block, snake. For the snake that goes in here to do anything useful, it also needs to carry a block, so let's just assume I'm doing that. At that elevation, once I get one in, let's imagine I've done this once before I even finish setting it up, and have created this state. If I have already done this once and created that state, then you stack on top of that block and make it taller. Oh, wow. Okay, so no. Other way around. I have done this without an extra block on head. Oh, there's an extra layer to this. This is funny. Alright, so explode that block and I end up with a puzzle state that looks like this. Okay, so an explosion goes off here at elevation 2, I end up with a puzzle state that looks like that. Move that flying snake that's at elevation 2 somewhere, and I end up with a puzzle state that looks maybe like this. Okay. Now, you're not doing anything useful, so I'm going to assume I wanted to put a block on your head. Like, every flying snake that gets exploded in here does not necessarily want a block, because again, I do the process another time. With this here with the carried block, explode. Here, let's just set down the explosion example, which would be this. Alright, so explode here. And how I do that is not currently particularly known, but don't worry about it yet. I have several ideas. Ooh, okay. Those aren't going to work the way I want them to. That's fine. But anyway, so I explode here. Then the puzzle state advances to... First of all, you explode. You and the thing that's carrying you gets moved here. Okay, cool. Now I have that. So, that snake there, let's once again imagine that I had put a block on its head. It hops off, and ends up, let's say, in this procession somewhere. Now I have 2 blocks on this snake's head. So if I want to repeat the same thing, I have to escalate the height. Because now, if block here, snake there, bomb bug there, what happens when this explosion goes off is... Alright, let's say there's a block on snake's head. Explosion goes off, bomb bug goes away, nothing else changes. Because block here at elevation 2 bumps into block there at elevation 2. So unless I want to do a cleanup step of like doing an explosion here somehow to knock the block 2 off into the abyss, I'm going to gain an extra bit of height for every additional snake I put in there. So I'm going to need unburdened snakes to go in first. Then yeah, every snake that goes in later increases the burden by 1. Why do that, though, when instead I could do this? Okay, I got a better idea. I can solve this problem. So right, before this flying snake was added... Before that flying snake was added, the puzzle state looked like... something like that. Okay. So now instead, let's have this not sitting there. Let's have it sitting somewhere else. So specifically avoid putting anything at 12.8 or whatever the actual coordinate is. And Bombug explodes. The puzzle state changes to this one. Okay, that looks more repeatable. So just make sure the space is empty when exploding a snake into it, and I don't have the problem of increasing burden. Where will I be standing when this explosion happens? It has to be exactly at this coordinate, with exactly you there. The only variable I can really control there is that I can increase the elevation of both of these by the same amount. This is an increase of 0. This is the minimum elevation that allows something to be shuttled in there. Oh, I guess I set up my state wrong. Yeah, you lose your block on top of you, so I have to reset up this situation every time, but of course I do. That's just how it's gonna be. How many snakes do I have? $24? Whoa, that's way less than I thought. Hold up. How many flying snakes am I going to use? Okay, that is a far more precious resource than I was imagining. So right, for this final layout, did I decide that this was the absolute minimum for getting leaf here? In what sense was it? How did this work? Did I start here? Yeah. No, that is not the absolute minimum. In terms of bumbugs, at least, but in terms of flying snakes, I think it is. Yeah, the difference is some of these bumbugs can be replaced by push blocks, or technically flying snakes, but I would prefer push blocks. Or maybe bumbugs, maybe that's the resource that I have more of at the end and decide to use them exactly this way. The necessary ones for that are these two. These two, right, it's hard to tell what highlight is what. So just in service of that, let's change you to a push block. And just to whoa. Yeah, that's fine. So this is minimum number of bumbugs, minimum number of flying snakes. Why are you a bumbug? Minimum number of bumbugs, minimum number of flying snakes. Oh right, I have to waypoint travel too. There's a little more to this. So waypoints active, all in current room. So even with the waypoint travel? There's no stack there. Okay, the minimum's a little higher than I thought. So I would have to have... Whoa. That? 5 blocks on top? Oh, maybe. So yeah, to do this via waypoint, I'm up here, you're gonna flutter around a little bit, that's okay. Because yeah, I have to cross 2 pit tiles. Something fell, I don't mind, that's fine. Okay, yeah. So this would appear to be the strict minimum number of bumbugs and flying snakes required for that. It is not the strict minimum push blocks. Some of those are interchangeable with some of those other things. Just a few of them. So, strict minimum, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's also false. 11. Because that's valid for hopping on the waypoint. It's not over a pit, so it doesn't have to move. Strict minimum 11 flying snakes. So that is 13 hang on, let's write this down. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 bomb bugs, 11 flying snakes, and how many push blocks? A lot. 4 bomb bugs, 11 flying snakes. So that's that. But the push blocks. Strict minimum. The ones I'll be walking on, but also every other, and it'll be easier to see this way. So every other one could be a monster. Alright, I'm just going to replace each one that doesn't have to be a push block with... I'm going to do a different monster than... I'll call this a slug. Slug stands in for... That's actually a terrible idea. Could I do Angry Eye? Possibly. Let's do it this way. I'll do multi-push block. None of those are in the room, and I'll understand the marker. So this stands in for push block or monster. Okay, this actually routes more straightforwardly than I expected. There's a lot of just easy alternating going on. Now, I can only... Yeah, so one of these two, but not both of them. Doesn't matter which, so I'm just going to leave it like that. You're not interchangeable at all. You are. You are. None of you are. There's nothing there. There's nothing there. Neither of you is. Just make sure this still works in this layout. It does. Okay. So that is... I'm going to count the other way. That'll be easier. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 push blocks. That is for the final step. That is the strict minimum. So no matter what I do, I cannot lose more resources than would leave those at the end. Now, I'm going to need a whole lot more than that to set up this state. But that's the ending amount, so that puts a hard cap on the amount of resources I can use. If I am killing flying snakes, I can kill at maximum 13. If I'm killing bomb bugs, which I definitely am, I can kill at maximum 28. If I'm dropping boxes, or cornering them, or anything, I can lose at maximum... what is that, 56? And I can't lose all of those maximums at once. The amount of... Okay, right, so there is another strict minimum I can count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's none here, right? Well, here, right? 8. So 8 interchangeables. Okay. Strict minimum for final step. Those resources. So these 8 can be assigned to any of the 3. Whoa. Wait a second. I found a bug. This is supposed to be a double click. I click, I wait, 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 I click again. That counted as a double click. My double click detection timer is not advancing. Weird, okay. Well, that's gonna be a one-liner fix. Yeah, so if I click in the same spot... or reasonably close to it... okay, anyway, sure. So double-click detection, got it. Doing a bunch of bug fixes to this game lately, so I'll just throw that one in the pile. It'll be easy. Alright, so anyway, that's that allocation. Now, the reason I was counting that was because of flying snakes required for getting one in here. Some of you will have to die. All of you eventually. Just like everyone, but a little more eventually than the rest of us. A little less eventually, actually. Anyway, so, there was a query I was trying to answer 15 minutes ago. It had to do with staircases and getting a snake in here. Anyway, so I set down that layout in the level editor over here. And this I was just counting out with stacks and stuff and seeing what changes in the puzzle layout. So, right, the query I wanted to answer was, how does this explosion go off, and where am I standing when it does? There are 3 ways. So for the moment I'm going to imagine... Right, no, this is a very important spot. An explosion will go off here at elevation 3. Okay, an explosion, many explosions will go off here at elevation 3. 2 at elevation 3. 0 is the pit, 1 is the flying snake, 2 is the push block, 3 is the bomb bug on the push block. Yeah. And it will push something at elevation 3 here into that spot. The block that was pushed will fall. Okay, so this adds to my strict minimum for the setup that I was talking about. In several ways. I don't have any implied flying snakes killed yet, but there's an implication of number of explosions it takes to get things. The absolute minimum possible to get this number in here would be 1 explosion for each of these, plus... let's pretend I can do this with 1. Maybe I can. Actually, the push from here to here, I'm starting to see how it would happen. But anyway, so the explosions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 explosions, and each explosion drops a push block. So those numbers are the same. Alright. So add that to the strict minimum budget. Or subtract it. Well, yeah, add it too. So fortunately that is, neither of these is a flying snake, which is my tightest allocation at the moment. So push blocks goes to 33, bomb bugs goes to 13. Okay. And the number remaining can go in a different sort of brackets. Alright, accounting. Everybody loves accounting. So how many bomb bugs do I have? 32. 32 bomb bugs, 24 flying snakes, 80 boxes. So 32, that means 19? 19 plus 13 is indeed 32. So push blocks. 80 minus 33. 70, 60, 50. Subtract 3. 47. Okay, so 47 left after that. 19, 13, 47. So for everything prior to that final step, I have that many of each available. Okay. Just so I know what angle brackets mean, in case I forget, because I'm going to be here for a while, in case you hadn't noticed. I'll figure out what the parentheses mean, probably. Well, yeah. Adjusted, unallocated, sure. Strict min for final step. I want this to fit in one line. Strict min for final step, sure. Okay. 8 interchangeable, any of the above. Right, and the interchangeable ones. Well, they can just be whatever I have the most of, which is probably push blocks, and that's also the most convenient. So hopefully I can pull from this pool of 47 for those. Okay, so now, right, the query I'm trying to answer is where am I standing when this explosion goes off? I need to have been at elevation 3. I think what I might want is this here, stacked on top of a couple of extra blocks, and I will go here, stacked on top of a couple... Yeah, okay, look at this waypoint. So that'll lock you up in the south, which is probably okay. But I'm imagining, for now, without worrying too much about the future, what I might want to do would look about like this. Shoot. Shoot. That's the right elevation, right? Is that one too high? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's one too high, isn't it? Well, I can pull that back off. What does it look like? Flying snake, push block, bomb bug. Flying snake, push block, bomb bug. Yeah, you need to be one lower. You'll be there. I will be... Nope, that's too high. Okay, so I want 2, not 3. Really? Yes. It's confusing to think about, but yes. When I want to explode a bomb bug who is here, with something that's in this notch ready to get exploded there, I will teleport here, and I'll walk... Okay, a little bit more to it than that. It will have to have been there. Because the flying snake will move first, then the angry eye beam goes off. Okay, so the explosion that happens here is there on the turn that I step on that. Now that's easy to pull off because I have lots of waypoints. So it'd be something like... Load up the explosive and the carrier over here. Pull both of the flying snakes carrying those things over on this route. Get them into this general area. Teleport down somewhere around, I guess here. This is not the most convenient of setups. The reason I'd prefer to do it in the south is to keep the thing in this notch from flying out to the north. However, I think that's unnecessary. I could do this to the west, or even the east. West's going to be occupied by staircasing activities, probably. East has no more room than south. But if I were doing that in another spot... I could hop up onto this, sure, I mean that's... I cannot do it from the north, there are no waypoints in line unless I, like, did a multi-step thing, or from here, which I wouldn't want to do. But anyway, yeah, so imagine the angry eye was in line with... this. I could hop up there at any time after having moved these around. Angry Eye primes. Okay, the issue I see with that is of move order and vertical preference. Unless the flying snake carrying the thing into the notch is already going vertically, which could be achievable, but is... Actually, no, that's fine. So I notch it. I put it down here. I am down here. The angry eye is, I don't know, somewhere over in this area. That's really inconvenient, though. Like, this is clogging up the snake jail, this is clogging up the staircase. I totally want this in the south or the east. East is doing relatively little. What are you for? Oh, you're for hitting the thing here. No, you're not. You're not high enough for that. What are you for? That elevation's gonna do nothing. At best, I feel like you're for cleanup of all the flying snakes carrying the floor in there. And since I know I don't care about cleanup, because I can just take this ladder, it's two-way, I can come back, there's a waypoint here, I can get back out. What I would prefer to do is climb down this ladder without clearing the room, climb back up, waypoint out, just let things out naturally, and yeah, just not clear the room on my first pass. So, if you're only for final cleanup, then I don't need you because I have another way to do final cleanup, I think. Okay, that's a reasonable question that I can answer very easily. Can I just clear the room from here? Assuming this waypoint had been activated at some point, does anything stand in my way of just clearing the room? That'll let you out, that'll let you out. Everybody explodes, everybody explodes. And I'll have to do some, bit of snaking. That's okay, I can snake. This is very satisfying. Twing twing poom poom. Twing twing poom poom. Oops, not that one. This one. There we go, I cleared the room. Yes, okay, so that works just fine, and nothing would stop me from waypointing into here and climbing down the ladder and having that clear done. Okay, cool. So if you are for a purpose, you are not necessary for final cleanup purposes. So if you may have a purpose that is different from that. If you were an obstacle, I could simply just remove you, probably. But if you have another purpose for which you must be alive, I can toggle you up and down. I would assume this is for convenience, but I can't get you any higher. So it is going to have to once again be Angry Eye B, who explodes the bomb bug that moves the flying snake from here to here. Even though Angry Eye A is in line, it's at the wrong elevation. It's impossible to explode a bomb bug in that spot with an Angry Eye beam. Unless I had a configuration where a bomb bug was directly on top of a flying snake, and since that doesn't already exist in this room, I don't have... tools don't exist to create it. Okay. Okay, so some good routing happened here. I don't yet know how to get a flying snake in here, but I'm a couple of steps closer, and I have an allocation. I know I can clear the room without doing anything special. Good knowledge was gained. Alright, next time I'm gonna keep on breaking this down into small enough steps that I can make some progress on them, and eventually we'll get a flying snake in here.